What is up, everybody? So today we're going to fix the wheel gap on my Toyota Tundra. It's something that frustrates me and a lot of other truck owners, that you have these tires that sit so far in from the outside edge of fender. You got this big truck and it just makes it look scrawny when they're inset. So I want to beef this thing up, and there's two ways to do it in my opinion. One is the right way, which is new wheels. You can order new wheels. Manufacturers have it down to a science where they can offset the dimensions between where it bolts on the hub and where that outside edge of wheel sits, and they can get this thing to flush up pretty easily with an offset wheel. The second way to do it is to install a wheel spacer. If you know this build and you've been following it along, I want to keep these factory wheels. I want to kind of keep the truck classy, and I really like the way that it's looking. So you can add a slab of metal with a wheel spacer. This is a 1-inch wheel spacer. I'm going to put it on all four corners of the truck. It has its own studs. It has a hub-centric ring to kind of center the rim on that, and that's pretty much what it is. Now these get a lot of slack because it's essentially another variable for something to go wrong on a really important assembly of your truck. Now, I've ran this exact wheel spacer on my Corvette, done a handful of burnouts, put a lot of stress on them, no issues whatsoever. And I know a lot of people that run these for the life of their truck, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the risk. And again, that is to preface all of the haters of wheel spacers. These will be in the description below. We're gonna knock this out. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Let's go ahead. Okay, so this is all you need to measure for a spacer. You get a level and you plumb it up right here on the top. Then you take your tape and you measure, take a couple measurements up there. Now for Tundras, when I measured, depending on your sidewall, kind of tread type, it measures from 1 inch to 1.25 inches. Those are the most common dimensions for Tundras. I went with 1 inch because I really don't want it sticking out past this. Later on, you'll see why a lot of people go to 1.25 inches, and that's to protect yourself from some stud issues. So let's check that out when we get these things mounted up. All right, so one thing you'll want to do is look at your factory stud length. This is a very nuanced thing for Tundras, is the rear is actually about 1 1/8 inch stud length, while the front is 1 inch. So when you look from up above, you can tell why this is an issue. 1 1/8 inch sticks out past the face of your spacer, and depending on your wheels, it'll tell you if this is a problem or not. So as you can see on my wheels, it's not a problem because this void right here is able to eat that 1/8 inch dimension up. But there's a lot of wheels that don't have this void whatsoever, and then you have a problem. So a couple of options is, first, you can grind these studs down. Now that's actually what I'm gonna do to give the next owner some flexibility with their wheels. I'm gonna grind these down with a Dremel, get it as flush as I can against this wheel spacer. A second is you can take a grinder and grind off 1 or 2 threads. I did that on my Corvette. Takes 1 minute, very easy, and you'll flush out this stud with the face of your spacer. The third is you can also buy 1 1/4 inch spacer, which is why a lot of Tundra owners revert to that so they don't have to mess with their studs. But I really think 1 inch will look a heck of a lot better compared to 1 1/4 inch. All right, now you can tell just how nice that stance is. These spacers greatly exceeded my expectations. I think it just makes it look a lot more beefy without making it look aftermarket. I didn't want it to like stick out past the fenders and look a little crazy, but it really beefens up the stance. As you can tell right there, they're about perfect in line with the fenders. I think 1 1/4 inch would be too much. So in my opinion, it is worth kind of grinding those studs down in the back just to hold that inch dimension. I think it looks awesome. And from the back, it looks just as good. Nice and meaty. You can see that tread lining up with those outside edge of fenders. I think it just looks absolutely awesome. So that is a wrap. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below. This build is coming to an end. Just a couple more parts and we'll get her all finished up. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.